Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you two more little terracotta pot animals. Now these are not necessarily for outdoors. You can use them for indoors. I've got a little Highland cow and I've got a little horse. They're super easy to put together. They make great gifts. They're great craft fair selling items. If you want to know how to make these two little guys, stick around. I'll show you how. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm taking 4 little bitty flower pots and I'm going to glue those together with Loctite Power Grab. Now you could probably use E6000 glue too, but these grab pretty quick and dries pretty fast. And I'll give you the link for all the flower pots I'm using in the description below. These actually I got at Hobby Lobby. And then I'm just going to use a Q-tip to kind of smooth it out a little bit, kind of clean it up a little bit. And then I'm going to put the bigger flower pot on top, and this is the larger one from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to mark with a pencil exactly where it touches those other flower pots, because that's the only place that you're going to really want to put some glue. And I'm just going to put glue on the edge right on those spots. Now don't worry so much about getting too much glue on this, because we are going to cover every bit of this up. And then just line it back up with those flower pots. And then kind of clean it up. Now, if you're going to use your finger to clean this up, you might want to use some gloves, because this stuff does get on your hands, and it then kind of, you have to, it's like rubber on your hands, and it takes a little bit to get it off. And then I'm going to let that dry real good. Okay, then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the front and the back, and I'm going to put my other flower pot facing, with the nose part facing forward, and I'm putting it on the flat part, so you want to go past the ledge and then just glue that down. Okay, then I'm mixing 2 colors. I'm using some burnt umber and some pumpkin color. I'm going to kind of mix them equally together, and that's what I'm going to paint him with. And just kind of getting all the little crevices. You could probably have painted him ahead of time and glued him together and then just painted over where you put the Loctite. But I mean, this actually worked out okay too. But you want to get every inch of him painted, and you want to get the inside of the head part painted as well. Now where the Loctite glue was, you may have to come back in and put a second coat just to cover that up. Just let it dry real good and then come back in and cover it up with a little bit more paint, and it worked great. Okay, now I'm going to make the horns, and I'm just taking about an inch ball of oven baked clay, and I'm just going to roll it out, and then I'm going to make a point at one end of it, just kind of roll the point out, and then I'm just going to curve it up, and I'm going to make both of my horns exactly the same. And then you're going to bake them. I baked mine for 30 minutes at 275 degrees. But just make sure that they are the same. And then kind of flatten out the bottom a little bit, because we are going to glue it to the flower pot. Okay, now I'm just going to take some faux fur, and I'm going to start covering my flower pot. Now down at the bottom right here, I'm using a 1/2 inch by 3 inch strip of faux fur, and I'm just going to glue it around the top part of each one of the smaller, the legs, so it covers up the glue spot, so you won't even see any of that glue up there. And just kind of make sure you get it as close to the edge as you can, and then just glue it around the inside part on both sides. And then we're going to add a little bit of strip of glue right up underneath the front part of the hair. We're going to kind of comb it back and push that down. And then you're going to do that for all 4 legs. And again, it's a 1/2 inch by 3 inch. Just make sure that when you're cutting your fur, you're cutting on the backing only and not through the fur itself. And I'll give you the link for this. I got this on Etsy, and I'll give you the link for the color and this exact same one that I bought. Okay, now I'm going to cut a 7-inch piece by 1.5 inch, and this is going to be for the body. And just make sure that your fur is going downward And so you're going to just cut across at the 7-inch, and then you're just going to cut the 1.5 inch and downward. and then go ahead and clean all that excess fur off. And then we're just going to go ahead and glue it right around the neck all the way to the back. Just kind of get it tucked up underneath that other flower pot so you don't see the top part of it. And then we'll glue the back in here in a second. Just kind of open that up and just put a little bit of glue there and then glue that in. Okay, I'm going to cut a 2 1/4 by 1 1/2 inch strip for the hair on top with the fur facing downward. And then I'm going to cut 2 1-inch squares, and that's going to be for the ears. And then just get all your excess fur taken off of there. And then we're going to fold these in half, and we're going to start shaping them into the shape of a round ear. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the second ear. And then we're going to go ahead and glue them together. And then continue to trim off any more that you want to trim off. Just kind of make them round. Look online at what a Highland cow's ear looks like, and just kind of try to shape them like that. Okay, next I'm just taking some Terra Cotta colored air dry clay, and I'm just going to make a mouth for him. The mouth and the nose area. And just make sure that you do cover the tip of that up. Then I'm just going to take 2 pieces of black air dry clay and push it in there for his nose. Then I'm going to take another little ball and I'm going to roll it up and roll it into a log, and that's what I'm going to use for his mouth. And then just set this aside and let it dry real well. Just kind of give him a little smile. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and attach his horns. I'm using E6000 glue and hot glue, and you want to take your time on this and hold it until it dries. And then do the same thing with the other one. Now I'm going faster in the video, but I would hold it until it completely dried. And if you're enjoying today's video, be sure and give me a like and subscribe so you can be notified when I have another video upload. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and attach his ears, and I'm just going to put them right in front of his horns. And I'm going to glue it to the horn and to the base. And this will also give it a little bit of strength for the horns to stay up a little bit better too. Which mine did fine after they dried. The E6000 glue held them fine. For the hair for the top of the head, I'm taking a piece that's 1 1/2 inches long by 1 3/4 inches wide. And that's what I'm gluing on the top of the flower pot for the top of his hair. And you're not going all the way back. A little bit of the hair is going to cover it up, and then we're going to cover that up again. Then I'm going to take some hot glue, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue his mouth right on. Just make sure it just sits flush on there. And if you're selling these, I would have put E6000 glue on there as well. Okay, next you're going to cut a piece that's 1 3/4 inches wide by 1 1/4 inches tall. And we're just going to start filling in on the sides. So just go up right up to the top edge where the other fur is, and just fill this in. And we're going to do that on both sides. Just kind of blend the two hairs together. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Now I'm going to cut a piece for the back, and I didn't get a measurement on it, but you'll be able to see how much you need to actually close in that back. And just going to go right up to the top of that other hairline and put that around the top part. And then just kind of blend the hair in together. Okay, this is a quick and easy way to make a Highland cow. I think he turned out adorable. Okay, next we're going to make a horse. We're going to take 2 of the smaller 1 3/4 inch flower pots, and we're going to take 4 of them, and we are going to glue the 2 front ones together and the 2 back ones together. Now, all of these came from Hobby Lobby, and I'll give you the sizes of these in the description below. So we're just taking our Loctite and glue the 2 front legs together and then the 2 back legs together. And then we're going to take the next size up flower pot, and we are going to glue it together with another flower pot to make the body. And don't worry so much about the Loctite. We're going to kind of smooth it in here in a minute. But just get it all on here so every bit of that pot is covered on where it connects the other pot. And then just kind of smooth it out right there. Just kind of run your finger over there and get the excess off. And then set those aside and let them dry real good. Okay, after they dry, we're going to go ahead and connect them to the body, and we're just going to put it on the inside edge of each one of these legs and space it out a little bit so the body hangs between the 2 legs, the 2 sets of legs. And we're going to actually balance it on the part that has the ledge of it on there. And then just kind of take a Q-tip and clean up anything that's, just kind of smooth it out a little bit. And then we're going to paint these in a little while, so don't worry so much about it. Just really try to get it a little bit smoother. For those of dry, we're going to go ahead and take a small flower pot and put a cork inside of it, and this is going to be for the neck. And that cork gives it a little bit more stability when you actually attach it to the neck. And just put a little bit of glue on the neck and put a little bit of glue on both front and the back. And then just glue it in. And it's going to set at an angle, but it will dry and it will stay. And then for the flower pot for the top part, we are going to balance it on the top here. And go ahead and put plenty of the glue right in the center and right around the edges a little bit, and then just set that down inside of it. You have 15 minutes to move this stuff around until it pretty much dries, but it does dry and stays together. Okay, now that it's dry, we're going to go take it outside, and I'm going to spray paint it with a matte black paint. And now I'm just going to take a paintbrush, and I'm going to paint a stripe right down the front of his face. And I'm just using a white chalk paint. And you probably had to do a couple of coats, I did, just to kind of smooth it out, but I ended up going all the way to the back part of his head. Okay, for his bridle, I'm going to take some jump rings I got at the jewelry department of Michael's, and I'm taking some braided cord, and I'm going to start attaching it to go around his head. I'm just putting a little bit of glue on one side of the jump loop, and then I'm going to measure it around the front part of his nose area to determine where I next need the next jump loop. Just kind of spacing them out, just kind of cut a little bit off so you have a little bit left over to tuck it under. And you could, there's probably an easier way to make this, but this is the way that I did it. Okay, now I'm going to take a piece and I'm going to attach it to the side to go around to the back. Now you want to do the upper part of that jump ring. So go on the upper part of that because that's what's going to go around to the back of his head. Okay, and then just go ahead and wrap it around and leave it a little bit loose because we are going to cut this in a little bit. Just kind of make it a little bit loose on the back part there and figure out exactly how much you need. And then we're going to hook it to the other side of that jump ring. And you're going on the top part of that jump ring. Okay, then for the reins, we're just going to add 2 10-inch strips just to the bottom part of that jump ring. Kind of finish off the edge so it doesn't fray, and then do the same thing for the opposite side as well. And that's going to be 10 inches. Okay, now we're going to cut right down the center of the back because we're going to add 2 more jump rings to the back part here. And you don't have to do that part if you don't want to, but it just did really make it look a little bit better. And then go ahead and glue the front part in. Each loop, just glue it right to the front of his head. And then we're going to pull the reins down in the center, and we're going to glue them together right down the center. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and pull in our other loop. Pull it down so you have just enough to glue it on, and then cut off the rest of the strip because we're going to use that on the back part of that loop. Just make sure it comes right up to his head, and then cut a little bit off, but leaving a little tip so that you can bend it back over and glue it onto the loop. Like that. And then take the part that you cut off, and we're going to attach it to the back part. And then we're going to glue that right to the head, to the inside of the head. And you're going to do exactly the same thing for the opposite side. Go ahead and glue your loop on, and then glue that inside the head. Okay, then take both of his reins, pull them to the back part of his body, and go ahead and tie those off. Just tie them in a knot together. And then just pull that real tight so it does stay together. Okay, next I'm just going to take some craft foam, and I'm going to cut 2 ears. I'm just cutting the shape of an ear, or you can even consider it the shape of a leaf. And that's going to be for his ears. They're about 1 1/4 inches tall. Then I'm going to take some faux fur, and I got this faux fur at Joann's. I'm going to cut a strip off for the back part of his head, and then we're going to cut a smaller strip for the front. Just use a thicker fur. This is a thick fur, and this is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. And then go ahead and put a little bit of glue down each side and pull that hair up over it to kind of cover up that seam. And then we're going to glue all this in here in a little bit too, but that'll kind of help it cover up the edge. And then after you get it combed out, we're just going to bring it right up to the top edge of the head, and we're going to glue it in. And just come over the edge a little bit because you do want to cover up that top part. Okay, next we're going to take another strip that's 4 3/4 by 3/4 inch. That's going to be down the front, but we're going to go ahead and start gluing in the sides of the horse. Just go ahead and make sure that you get that completely sealed in on the side, and go ahead and comb that hair forward. And do that on both sides. Now we're going to go ahead and attach the ears, and we're going to put them right up against that front part of that hair. Squeeze them in a little bit, kind of fold it in a little bit. You don't want them completely straight, but you want to be sure and fold in the bottom just a little bit while it's gluing. Just kind of squeeze it and let it dry. And then do the same thing with the other ear. Just kind of squeeze it in at the bottom and hold it while it dries. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and glue the front strip in with the fur going downward in the back, and we're going to attach it about 1.5 inches from the edge of the nose. And then just kind of blend it in. Next, we're going to make the tail, and we're going to cut a piece that's 3/4 inches wide by 3.5 inches long, and just cut behind the faux fur only. And then kind of make a U shape right there at the end. And then we're going to glue the top edge over, and we're going to glue it down so that you don't see any of the seam from the top part of the tail. Just kind of bend it over there just about 1/8 of an inch and glue that in. And then we're just going to attach it right onto the back of his body. And then go ahead and flip the tail up. Go ahead and glue it down the center, and then squeeze that together. And then that will make that complete. Okay, he turned out super cute. These are easy projects to do. It's just a bunch of gluing on this, and that Loctite Power Grab, that is a great glue to get because it does hold all this together good. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like. Be sure and subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have a blessed day.